Maybe you will not believe me at first, but there's one thing that's both more transformative to your career than getting your degree and more thrilling than base jumping, and it's going to change the way you see the world. I'm talking about change making, and in this episode we're going to start a series on finding out what change making is, how to become a change maker, and doing our very first steps as a change maker. Welcome to the Change Age. I'm Michael and we're here to make transformation work. So in the last 15 plus years, I have created several organizations creating social impact, and I have literally supported hundreds of social entrepreneurs and social innovators. And with this comes, of course, a sort of knowledge of how to create change, how to understand society, how to understand how we can alter the trajectory of society, right? So, and that kind of knowledge I want to share with you, because I think it's very important to get it out there, because right now we are in a time where we really need a lot of change. So in this series, starting today with this episode, I will share with you everything I know about change making. So first lesson, of course, is to understand what is change making. Change making is simply the activity that leads to social positive change in a society. Change making means supporting society in acting differently. So it's about the members in society, human beings. They are behaving in a certain way, and that can lead to problems. Accumulated behavior of humans can lead to problems. Look at CO2 emissions. If there's just one person driving a Humvee filled with raw oil, it doesn't do shit to the environment. But if there are millions of people driving combustion engines, that will certainly create a lot of problem. If we want to change this kind of behavior, we have to go to people and support them in doing it differently and behaving in a different way. But it's also about systems, because society is not just singular individuals. It is the systems, the social systems that these individuals build together. So it is also, change making is also about creating changes in how these systems work. And these systems could be very different things, like institutions, social, political, legal institutions, whatever you have. It starts with understanding societal problems. That could be environmental, social, it could be something in your community that's not working, it could be something politically not working, right? Something that we want to change. And we want to understand really what is the problem, what are we working with here, what are the causes and the symptoms. We want to understand how different systems in society are connected to each other so that this particular problem is being created. And with this knowledge of how this problem, how this challenge looks like, we can then devise a plan to change it. So we are creating solutions, right? We are creating new innovative ways of being together, of talking to each other, to acting in society. We can create movements, social movements, bringing people together under a certain topic to push something through that we think is important. And these solutions then, of course, need to get scaled. So it's about problem, solution, and then scaling this solution so that it's dispersed in society. Change making, of course, is nothing new. It's been with society basically since its dawn. Whenever there is a social challenge, like people being left out, massive inequalities, or society causing environmental issues, there have been people trying to solve that, finding solutions to these kind of problems. And of course, we have change makers living today. There's this one network called Ashoka, which has fellows, global fellows, all over the world in 95 countries. And they are counting 5,000 plus fellows at the moment. These are people like Bart Vetjans, who has developed a cheap way of detecting leftover landmines using rats. Or Dorica Dan, who is supporting people with rare diseases through collaboration. There's a lot of people already creating real social, tangible change. And we just don't see them all the time because positive news doesn't always get reported. And that's really, really sad. And there's actually changemakers working on that issue as well. But if we look past the normal news headlines, we see that there's a lot of people around there, right? So we can learn from them and we can see what they are doing already. And they have different motivations why they do what they do. And I think it's quite interesting to look at these motivations and also to see if that's something that might motivate you, right? So there's basically two types of motivation. If you want to become a change maker, probably the first motivation, the first reason why you would do it is, of course, you want to create change. There's something bugging you. There's something that's keeping you from participating in society. There's something fundamentally flawed in the way we do things in society, and you want to change that. That's a perfect reason, right? You should try something, you should find solutions to that. But there's a second reason, which many times we don't talk so much about it, but that's one of the biggest reasons for me why I became a change maker. And that reason is that there is no place on earth, really, there's no place on earth where you can learn more about yourself, about how things work, about society, about your place in the world than becoming a change maker. It's fundamental, all right? It's really something different. It's a lot stronger than doing a university degree or doing an internship at, I don't know, McKinsey or something. It's, you will be cast, you will be thrown into situations that you wouldn't normally find in your day-to-day life. For me, becoming a change maker really started at around 22 years old. I was already interested in social studies. I was doing my bachelor's in Sweden, but I didn't really have this crystallization point of really going out and doing change. I was more interested in it and probably interested in, creating a career in it later on. But then a transformative event happened in my family. My brother was born with Down syndrome. For all of my family, that was an inflection point, especially for my mom and me, because before that, we didn't really have the necessity of looking at how do people with disabilities live in society. How is society created so that people with disability can live in them? With my brother being born with Down syndrome, this changed for us, because now suddenly we realized that, for people with disabilities, it's a different life, right? And society is not built for them. It's built for normal, abled people. That made us think, trying to find out, so what kind of life will our brother lead? What kind of support will he get in being a person with Down syndrome? And one thing that we wanted to change is to find a way to get people with disabilities out of the normal system of employment. Normally, especially in Europe and also Sweden at that time, you have these big organizations where you have all people with disabilities, certain disabilities at least, learning disabilities and stuff like that, working in them. It was still this segregated kind of organizations where they worked. And what my mom understood is that I don't want my son to work in these kind of conditions, and I don't want other people with disability to do the same. So what we set out to do is create a hotel in which people with disability can work, find normal, decent jobs. So basically we wanted to create a social enterprise where people with disability could work. These kind of social businesses, social enterprises already existed in Germany and in Italy and also partly in Sweden and other parts of the world. But it was still, you know, the very beginning for this type of enterprise in Sweden, and few people understood what we set out to do. For me, this meant to go out of this understanding of myself as a university student and put myself into the shoes of a founder, together with my mom. And that meant to rapidly learn new skills while working on that idea. I had to draft 2 pages on what do we want to create, what kind of vision do we have, what kind of mission, what is the plan. I had to create budget plans, I had to create a website. I haven't done anything of that caliber before, right? I was just a university student. I had to go out and talk to politicians, public servants, investors. That was super strange. I was a university student. I didn't know that stuff, but because we did this project, I was forcing myself to do this. Nobody else forced me, certainly not my mom. It was me understanding that if we want to get this project off its feet, then I have to rapidly learn this kind of stuff. So I learned administration, a bit of coding websites, writing compelling texts, and all of that combined really shaped what I am today. Without this kind of experience of really going out and trying to understand disability laws and investment opportunities and how to create a hotel, I wouldn't be sitting here, right? I would do something else, probably something very boring. That's why I say there's no other place on earth that puts you into a position where you have to learn so rapidly. Because everything that we know is just assumptions, right? I assume that society works in a certain way. I assume that I work in a certain way. I assume that people will react to whatever I have to offer in a certain way. It's all assumptions. It's all hypotheses. I can only find out if these assumptions are true if I go out and test them. So if you want to change a social problem, if you have an idea of a solution and you haven't tested it yet, it might just not work. That's the hard but simple truth of change making. So if you go out with your idea, your solution, and you try it out, you will have a reality check. Whatever you think about society, about yourself, will be challenged. And that will force you to change your understanding of yourself, of society, everything. And that's so magical about change making. It's not only about doing change and feeling this kind of impact, right? The impact that you can have on society, but it's also about how you can change yourself as a human being. So if you have an idea, if you have a solution, don't wait in trying it out, to talk to people about your idea, to test it in small little ways. And we will talk about how you can actually test your ideas. What have we learned so far? Change making is about supporting systems and individuals in doing things differently. And there are basically 2 motivations for you to become a change maker. Reason number 1, very simple, you want to create change in society. Reason number 2, you want to create change in yourself. Of course, you don't have to choose between these 2 reasons. You can have both. You can have your cake and eat it too. You can become a change maker because you want to create change in society, and also because you want to learn a lot. So this is the start of a series. It's going to be probably around 12 or more videos on the different aspects of becoming a changemaker. I will give you all my knowledge and experience from my 15 plus years of being a changemaker and supporting hundreds of changemakers. And I will boil it down to the most important stuff, bite-sized, hopefully interesting interviews, going out and seeing stuff. I will show you how to become a changemaker. We will be talking about how to find a good problem, how to research this problem to really understand it, how to create a team so that you can create your solution, how to fund your solution, how to set up an organization, everything that's important to become a changemaker. So if you're interested in this, consider subscribing so that you don't miss any of the episodes. We are just a small team. Every subscription, really, we are celebrating everyone writing and liking the videos and subscribing to our channel. It means the world to us because we are absolutely convinced that we need a lot of change makers in this time and age. There's massive amounts of problems, social problems that we have to solve in the next upcoming years. So next time we see each other will be an episode about finding your problem, the problem that you want to solve. We will be touching upon you as a person. I will have working sheets and stuff like that. So it's going to be really interesting. Yeah. See you next time, I guess. And here somewhere is a video about why protesting is not enough if you have authoritarianism creeping up in your country. See you later. Bye-bye.